Hundreds of high school and college students from the Tallahassee area flooded the state's capital on Wednesday afternoon to deliver a gun control petition to Florida Governor Rick Scott to demand gun control measures. Some of these students were from Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, where 17 students and educators were slain by a gunman with an assault rifle in the second deadliest shooting at a U.S. public school. U.S. President Donald Trump has said he supports efforts to improve the background check system for weapons possession. Trump made the comment while holding a listening session on school safety with parents, teachers and students, including people from Parkland School, where the deadly shooting took place. President Trump sat in the middle of a semicircle in the state dining room of the White House, listening intently as students wept and pleaded for change. At least 22 people died in Peru after a bus hurled some 100 meters into a ravine in the mountainous southern region of the country's second bus major crash this year. The crash occurred on a curve in the Ocona district. Road accidents are common in Peru, where roads are considered unsafe and bus drivers lack training. One of the survivors said that the driver fell asleep at the wheel. Bolivians took to the streets in the Andean country at the start of a national strike to protest President Evo Morales' bid to run for a fourth term in 2019. Riot police used tear gas to disperse anti-Morales rallies. Heated scenes carrying signs that read "Bolivia said no" and waving the red, yellow and green Bolivian flag. The protesters said Morales wants to tighten his grip on power in the wake of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, a leftist ally considered a dictator by the opposition. Morales had accepted defeat in early 2016 when 51% of Bolivian voters rejected his proposal to reform the constitution to end existing term limits in a referendum. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says the Israeli intelligence services had prevented the downing of an Australian airliner as part of wide-ranging international intelligence sharing. His announcement followed a statement from the Israeli military that said a branch of military intelligence known as Unit 8200 had foiled an aerial attack abroad by Islamic State. Israeli media said the army statement referred to an attempted bombing in July of an Etihad Airways flight due to leave Sydney for Abu Dhabi that was foiled by Australian security forces before the plane took off. U.S. First Lady Melania Trump's parents have become permanent U.S. residents, apparently taking advantage of a family unification program pillared by the president. Now, Melania Trump's parents, like their daughter, are from Slovenia. They appear to have taken advantage of a system that Donald Trump has dubbed chain migration and has promised to end. The program allows naturalized citizens, in this case likely the First Lady, to sponsor visas for close family members. The news has prompted allegations of White House hypocrisy as Trump has made a hardline stance on immigration, part of his core electoral message. U.S. President's daughter and senior advisor Ivanka Trump, who will lead the U.S. delegation to the closing ceremony of the Olympics in South Korea on Sunday. The 36-year-old businesswoman will be joined by Press Secretary Sarah Sanders. The senior administration official ruled out any possible meeting between Ivanka and officials from North Korea. More than 100 girls are missing since 2 days after a Boko Haram attack on their school in northeast Nigeria, raising fears of a repeat of the 2014 Chibok kidnapping that shocked the world. Islamist militants stormed the government girls' science secondary school in Depachi, Yobe State on Monday evening. Locals initially said the girls and their teachers fled, but fears have been growing about the whereabouts of the students, and one schoolgirl who escaped said it was likely they were taken by Boko Haram fighters. The length of time since the attack and Boko Haram's use of kidnapping as a weapon during its nearly 9-year insurgency has increased fears of another mass abduction. A ferry explosion at Mexico's tourist hotspot of Playa del Carmen left at least 14 injured on Wednesday afternoon. Videos uploaded to social media showed emergency crews nursing injured people at the dock and people rushing for help. Local media reported the injured were transported to hospitals with no life-threatening wounds. The ferry was covering the route to Cozumel Island. Local authorities said in a statement that the cause of the explosion are yet to be explained. A bomb blast killed 2 bank employees and injured 22 other people in Myanmar's northeastern city of Lashio. Police said an investigation was underway but would not elaborate on whether there were any suspects in the attack. Footage broadcast on Myanmar TV station showed extensive damage internally and externally to a branch of Yoma Bank. Yoma Bank said 2 of its Lashio branch employees were killed and that both of its branches in the city would be temporarily closed. Lashio is in Myanmar's restive Shan state where several ethnic insurgent groups are fighting the Myanmar military. South Africa's new leadership announced that it is taking the politically risky step of raising value-added tax for the first time in 25 years as part of its efforts to cut the deficit and stabilize debt under new president Cyril Ramaphosa. The government of Africa's most industrialized country has to plug a revenue hole in its budget and repair its economy after 9 years of mismanagement under the scandal-plagued Jacob Zuma. The move to raise VAT to 15% from 14% starting in April is expected to generate an additional $2 billion of revenue. Former UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon has said the dialogue between the two Koreas that began during the Winter Olympics must be kept alive so it can hopefully lead to reconciliation, peace and the denuclearization of North Korea. Ban, who was South Korea's foreign minister before serving 10 years as UN chief, told the UN Security Council that the current reconciliation atmosphere must be nurtured by continuing engagements of both South and North Korean authorities. He said the United States can also play a crucially important role by engaging with North Korea, as South Korean President Moon Jae-in has suggested on Tuesday. The Trump administration disclosed that Vice President Mike Pence was set to hold a history-making meeting with North Korean officials during the Olympics, but Kim Jong-un's government cancelled at the last minute. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov arrived in Belgrade for a 2-day visit intended to cement the close ties between the traditional allies after meeting Serbian President Alexander Vučić. Lavrov spoke on the Ukraine crisis at a joint news conference, accusing Ukraine of avoiding implementing the Minsk Protocol and ending the fighting in the Donbas region. Vučić said will not join Western sanctions against Russia or do anything else harmful to interest of Moscow. He also said that he invited Russian President Vladimir Putin to visit. With that, Vučić continued Belgrade's balancing act between the West and Russia. Wide areas of Buenos Aires were paralyzed by a truck drivers' protests, including roadblocks in some of the city's busiest downtown neighborhoods against the investment-friendly policies of Argentine president. The march is seen as a test of the first-term president's ability to keep pushing reform legislation after an outcry over pension cuts late last year and a cut in subsidies that has caused increases in home heating gas and mass transit rates. A transport strike could slow the flow of agriculture commodities from Argentina, one of the world's top exporters of soy and corn. The UN Human Rights Agency attacked and denounced what it called a monstrous campaign of annihilation against the besieged civilian population of eastern Ghouta in Syria. Information documented by UN Human Rights Chief Office alone showed at least 346 civilian deaths and 878 injuries, mostly from airstrikes in residential areas, since the Syrian government and its allies escalated an offensive against the rebel-held enclave on February 4th. There were also 15 deaths and 51 injuries reported among civilians in the around Damascus, the result of a dramatic escalation of rebel fire on government areas. News from India now. On day 5 of his week-long India visit, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau will participate in the Canada-India business meeting in New Delhi. Trudeau will address Indo-Canada Business Forum meet at 3:30 p.m. IST in New Delhi. He is also expected to visit a Delhi school in the morning and may play cricket with students. Earlier on Wednesday, Trudeau visited Golden Temple in Amritsar and met Punjab Chief Minister Amrinder Singh on his day-long visit to the city. The Indian Army chief says Pakistan is behind the influx of illegal immigrants from Bangladesh into India's northeast as part of its proxy war. He also said that Pakistan is playing this game with China's help to keep the area disturbed. General Rawat made the comments in the backdrop of reports of increase in Muslim population in several districts of Assam. He also targeted Badruddin Ajmal-led AIUDF over its fast political growth in Assam. Indian film star Kamal Haasan today formally announced his entry into mainstream politics. Haasan has named his party Makkal Nidhi Mayam, which roughly translates to Centre for People's Justice. He launched the party before a packed audience in Madurai, Tamil Nadu. Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal and AAP leader Somnath Bharti were also in attendance. Flying officer Avni Chaturvedi of the Indian Air Force has created history after flying a first solo sortie in a Russian-made MiG-21 fighter jet. Flying officer Chaturvedi took off from the Jamnagar Air Base in Gujarat on Monday and successfully completed her mission. The solo sortie in a fighter is the first step to becoming a fully operational fighter pilot. India's junior foreign minister will today attend a groundbreaking ceremony of Turkmenistan's section of $10 billion Tapi gas pipeline project. The pipeline will help ease energy shortages in South Asia. The ceremony will also be attended by Pakistan Prime Minister Shahid Khaqan Abbasi and Afghanistan President Ashraf Ghani. The Tapi pipeline will have a capacity to carry 90 million standard cubic meters of gas for 30 years and is planned to become operational this year.